Hello everyone, myself Ravan, welcome to Code Beans, and in this video we will discuss about list, tuple, set and dictionary. How can we create a list? We use square bracket to create it. So list can have elements even they are of different data type, such as 1 is a integer, 1.0 is a float, and you can have something like this, a string also as an element of a list. Now let's say we want to get this first element. The indexation starts at 0, so a of 0 will be 1 in this case, a of 1 will be 1 of not 0, and a of 2 will be this string. Okay, so now this is clear. There's one or more thing, which is a list can also contain another list. Okay, so in this case a of 0 is this entire list and a of 1 is 1000. We can check it. Now let's say we want to print this. So a of 0 is this list. Now what is the index of 100 in this? It is 1. So with a of 0 we went to this list, and when we again pass the index 1 we will get this 100. Let's check this out. So now this indexation I hope is clear to you. Now let's move on to some quick operations such as adding, deleting and updating elements in a list. Now let's see an example. Suppose this is a list which contains 1 comma 2, and now we want to add, let's say, another element to it. When I mean add, I don't mean doing the mathematical adding operations, I mean putting another element in the list. That is, if we want to add 4, it should become 1 comma 2 comma 4. Okay, so there is append function, or you can say method, in which if you pass the number which you want to put inside the list, it will do it for you. So you can check. Interestingly, you can also pass a list. See, this was the earlier list. Then we added 4 to it, or appended 4, which is the correct way of saying it. Then we appended another list. So let me ask you a question. What is the index of this list? This is 0, 1, 2 and 3, a of 3. Now what is the index of this? Let's say we want to print this 6. How will we do? So one way is we will say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and we will get it. Another way is write -1. Yes, -1. -1 means start reading from the end. So this is -1, this is -2, this is -3, this is -4. Also, what will be this? A of -1. So a of -1 in this case will be this entire list. Let's see. Now let's do some other operations of removing element from a list. Let's say there is a list 1, 2, 3 and 4. We want to, let's say, remove element at index 1, which is 2 here. So we can use a del keyword and pass the index, and that element will be deleted and the list will also get updated. So earlier it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it is 1, 3 and 4. Now 3 have an index 1, earlier it had index 2. Okay, so that part is also clear. Now let's move on to another very interesting part of list, which is, let's suppose you don't want to use this square brackets, you want to create a list directly, or empty list. Okay, so how can you do? There is this function. If you call it, you will have an empty list, and then similar you can use append and pass a number, and that will get appended to this list. Now let me give you one more example which is very useful, which is, let's say if you have two lists, how will you add the element of second list into the first list? So let's say a1 was a list which had 1 comma 2 comma 3, and a2 was a list, let's say, which had 4 comma 5 comma 6, and we want to add all the elements of a2 into a1. That can be done with extend. You see, now all the elements of a2 are also part of a1. So also there are two ways to create empty list. One is, I will show you, just use empty brackets, and second one is use a list function. Rest all operations are same. Now one more important thing in it is, let's say the list was something like this, and we just want to only delete the data and still want to have a variable a which is an empty list. How will we do that? We can call something like clear, and it will remove all the data, and then we will still have the empty list. Now let's move on to tuples. So tuples have a slight different behavior when you compare it with list, and that is you cannot perform item assignment. Yes. So I'll show you what it is. So with these brackets, you can create tuples. Let's say 1 comma 2 comma 3. What we cannot do is we cannot reassign the value. Ta-da! You see, but in case of a list, suppose 1 comma 2 comma 3, and we want to update the value of 0 index with, let's say, 10, that can be done. So then why do we use tuples? That's a very good question. We use tuples to store informations which are very less likely to change during the execution of the code, such as the dimension of an object, or some coefficient values which we need to multiply later on. Okay, now remember I just said that we cannot perform some operations like this assignment. Okay, and also we cannot delete a particular index based element. We can delete this whole tuple, like we can do this, but we cannot delete a particular index based element in tuple, because the whole idea is to have information which is very less likely to change as the tuple, so that by mistake, even if a programmer tries to update it or modify it, it should throw an error. Okay, I'll show you one example. You can actually change information inside tuple. So let's say this is a tuple. Interestingly, tuple can have other elements or data types also, and this is a list. So what is the index of this list in this tuple? 0. In the second item is, let's say, hello. Now we can check. Yes, it is a tuple. What is a of 0? It is this list. And we can perform all the operations of adding, appending, removing elements in list. So we can do something like this. A of 0 dot append 4. And when you press A, we will get 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, the third index element of this list should be removed, and it is. I hope now the concept of tuple is clear. The main idea of tuple is we should store some informations like dimensionality or some coefficients which we are very less likely to change during the execution of the code. So now let's understand about set. So what is a set? Set means collection of unique elements. For example, suppose this was a list 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4. So its set will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 was occurring twice, but in set it is only having single occurrence. Set, think of it like collection of unique elements. That's it. Another way to create a set is use curly brackets. Let's say S1. This is an empty set. You can check. What does it say? It's a dictionary. Well, there is a catch here. See, if you have something like this and then check its type, it is a set. But this brackets alone doesn't make it a set. It is for dictionary. We will discuss about dictionary just after completing this topic. So how do we create an empty set? Well, it can be made with this. How to add elements in a set? So there is something called dot add, and here you can keep on adding a unique elements and it will get added in a set. Now let's quickly perform some more operations. So let's say there is a set 1 which is 1 2 3, and there is a set 2 which is 3 4 5. We want to now, let's say, know that which are the common elements in this. So it can be done in two ways. One is s1 dot intersect, and we will know what is a common element. Another way is, which is a quite handy way of doing it, use this symbol between these two sets and we will get the element. Similarly, if we want to calculate what is the combined total superset of it, s1 and s2, that can be done with s1 dot union s2. And also, if you see here, 1 2 3 4 5, all the unique elements are here. 3 is not repeated twice. Similarly, we have a shortcut for it, which is this pipe symbol. Okay, now there is one more operation which we should know. Let's say we want to delete a particular element from a set S1. Let's say in this case we want to delete 2. Okay, we can use a discard method, and if we now see it, it is 1 3. Remember one thing, in set we don't have indexes, so if you try to do something like this, it is a stupid thing to do. Don't do it. It is a set don't have indexes, it just have collection of unique elements. One more important thing, let's say we have a set 1 2 3 4 5. Now we want to preserve this variable, its type, but we want to remove all the data which is part of this set. We can do it with clear method. Now I hope the set is clear to you. There are some operations which are a little more advanced. We will just discuss it and then we will be done with set. Okay, the first one is superset and subset. Suppose there is a set S1 which is 1 2 3, and there is a set S2 which is 1 2. So superset means like does the set contains the other set as part of it. Think of it like how does a country contains a state. Okay, so we can check S1 greater than equal to S2. If it is true, it means either they both are same or S1 is greater than S2, which is like S1 is a superset. Similarly, we can know the difference of elements in two sets using a minus symbol, or we can use the difference function. All the basic operations of set are complete. Now let's move on to dictionary. So the main idea of dictionary is, instead of using index, we use key value pair to store the information. How to create a dictionary? We can use curly brackets. Here we define a key, let's say name, and the value is Ravan. So we can use a key instead of an index, and then we will get the value. So basically everything that is on the left hand side of the symbol is the key, and that is on the right hand side is the value. So we can also have multiple key values, that is city, and you can say as an answer Bangalore. Then you can ask city and it will return Bangalore. Okay, so I think this part is clear. So now let's try to first create an empty dictionary which is curly braces and nothing inside them. Now let's try to add some information. So we can add information like this: key and a value. So now this dictionary A is updated with this particular information. Okay, also one more thing, we can use delete operation in this unlike tuple. So how can we delete? You can pass the key and it's gone. Okay, so remember in list we used to pass the index. If we wanted to delete a particular element in this dictionary, we pass the key. Also one more important thing, so let's say this is a dictionary, and let's first add some element, which is update data. And the value can be anything. It can be float, integer, or even a list, or a tuple, or a list containing tuple and some numbers. Okay, it throws some error. Why? Because we forgot to add the curly brackets, which symbolizes that it is a dictionary. Now if you see, now let's try to print data. Because data have a value which is a list, so we can now use the indexation of list, which is the 0 of this will be tuple 1 comma 2 comma 3, and at the one index we will have hello string. So let's check this out. And also we can perform delete operations such that, just remove this index 1. We can also use the clear function here to just keep the variable and not delete the variable. Just like think of it like this: a dot clear will remove all the key value pairs. And let's say we have name and location, then let's say the answer is India, and we want to print all the keys. So we can use something like this: keys, it will print all the keys. And if we want to print all the values, we will get all the values. So I hope now dictionaries are clear, and with this we are wrapping up our today's session. Bye bye.